Harry Kane is now a Bayern Munich player. He's already played in a cup final for them, which they lost 3-0. He was on the bench for the first two of those goals, and then he came on to try and turn things around. But he'd flown over the last day, so he wasn't fully involved. But, Tim, you know him. Has he made the right choice?
Yes, because it's his choice. I think he's decided. He had a look at who else was in for him. I was very surprised that there was no Premier League teams, especially Man United. I thought they're crying out for a player like Harry Kane.
Don't you think that they wanted him and Daniel Levy said, "I'm not selling him to you"?
I don't know that, but I think it's a very, very good chance that it was impossible for him to move to a club what he wants to go to in the Premier League. So just opened up the foreign market, and it's not a bad one. Bayern Munich, you know, one of the best teams in the history of what they win, and Champions League is going to be huge. We know that the prolific winners of the Bundesliga, is it going to be enough? You know, that'll be a start to pick up one trophy, but it's the Champions League, what he's gone there, and to win the treble, and I think they're capable of doing it. We have to say that. I think with Harry Kane, we know he will score a minimum of 30 goals for them this season. Certainly in all competitions, but I would suggest just in the Bundesliga he gets 30 goals. I think in the Premier League, in the Champions League, I think he's going to help them out as well. They've got some very, very good players. They will strengthen between now and the end of the window as well. I think it's a good choice for him, I really do. I think he had to leave Tottenham. I think the time is up, and it's probably overstayed his welcome there. Well, not his welcome. They would have loved him to stay this season as well. But he's
every
outgrown.
Season it's been, we're going to kick on this season. We're going to kick on this season. It's never quite
He's outgrown him. As he was going on and on, Kelly, I would have thought that he would have stayed till the end of his contract and left on a free, and then there would have been a queue round the block for him. Because then the chairman, Daniel Levy, would have had no control where he left, what team he went to. So, but he decided Bayern Munich were big enough. They shared his ambition, and that's what he's chose to do, and good luck to him.
It was almost like last chance, not even like last chance. After what he did last season, scoring 30 goals in their Tottenham team, that was pretty average last year. I think it was more remarkable that he did that than Haaland getting his 36, if I'm honest, because Haaland was playing with better players, and he still gets 30. But I still think they're going to Bayern Munich, which is, as Tim said, they're one of the biggest clubs in the world. I think it is all about the Champions League. And they never really replaced Lewandowski, did they? They got Mane in, and it didn't really work for him. He was playing number 9. They probably couldn't believe their luck that they had the chance to get Harry Kane, because for me, he's still one of the best centre-forwards on the planet. I think, as Tim again was saying, you look at the likes of Musiala that's going to be around him, Kingsley Coman, Leroy Sané, these guys. You then put Harry Kane in there, I think they go to one of the Champions League's favourites. I really do with him there.
Just one I wanted to ask you about. That's one of these stories that keeps going around with Harry Kane about the Bundesliga not being a kind of trophy that anybody would really want to win. That you can say, OK, well, Bayern Munich are almost guaranteed to win it every season.
Yeah.
Fine. But Harry Kane's never won a trophy.
Yeah.
So there is a sense of, you know, saying, well, it's not really a worthwhile trophy to win. But if you've never won a trophy before, surely any trophy is a worthwhile trophy to win.
Absolutely. I mean, it's individual accolades, what he's got coming out of his heroes, you know, but he wants to win as a team. When you play football in a park when you're a kid, and for your school teams, you want to lift trophies, and I think he'll be achieving that at the end of the season. A bit the same when Pochettino left Tottenham. You know, he's not won anything. He went to Paris and ended up winning the league, and you know, in his second season, and he still gets criticised because, oh, it's Paris, you have to win that league. It's not as competitive, we know, as the Premier League, and nor as the Bundesliga. But the pressure's on. The pressure is on him because he's the one who's going to get the blame if they don't win the league. He knows that. He's used to playing under pressure. He's carried Tottenham for many years now. This is a different kind of pressure, though, isn't it? This is a kind of pressure where you're expected to win every single game. There's nobody making any excuses for Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga, and they're expected to win the league. Yeah, this is a better kind of pressure because there's more at the end of the rainbow there if you actually maintain your composure, and I think that Harry's got all the credentials to be able to do it. He's a world-class player, we all know that. And like I say, he's decided to make the step now. He has gone to one of the biggest clubs in the world, and I think he'll be prolific, and I really believe that they will win more than one trophy this season. I hope it's the Champions League.
Do you know what, though, as well, sorry, Daz? You know, and people talk about him staying in the Premier League, which I get, but the only club in the Premier League that you're guaranteed to win something every single season is Manchester City. And that option was taken away from him because they bought Haaland. So when people are saying, well, he should stay in the Premier League, he should go to Manchester United and he should win things, there's no guarantee that Manchester United win anything either. So I think, like, he almost, not that he had to go to Bayern Munich, but it's almost like the Premier League has a little bit become like the Bundesliga because it's everyone trying to catch Manchester City. So For me, I stand by. I think you made the right decision.
I was actually quite wistful at the weekend because I was at the game where he scored his first Premier League goal, and you were the manager. And it was Christian Eriksen. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Christian Eriksen in from the right and in his close range, and all the fans beforehand had been saying he's playing in the Europa League, get him in the first team. You tell the story. You know it better than me.
Well, I think it was a little more difficult for him than that because I'm not sure the fans took to him. All I was hearing was everyone talking about what he couldn't do on the pitch rather than concentrating on what his assets were. And he was obviously a developing young player. If he, in his first few games, if he hadn't scored after half an hour, they're singing for Saldana to come on the pitch because he was the big money signing. His name ended in O, which was more sexy than Harry Kane. And that was where it was. So he's always been under pressure. He knows that. He knows it wasn't a plain sailing. He had to win the fans over. He's certainly done that. He's one of their own now. And I wouldn't rule out him coming back to the club. And Harry's not ruled it out. He left a glimmer of hope there for them to come back in the future. He certainly wants to come back to the Premier League. I believe he'll play till he's 37 years of age because he's a very fit man.
So he could do both. He could go and win at least one trophy,
and then he'll come back and
come back
and
and
the
break the
interesting
record.
thing we just saw on the screen a second ago. We saw that we saw on the screen a second ago all of the numbers for the other players, and obviously Shearer's out in front. But if you look at Lewandowski and the way that he's looked after himself to get to the age he is and still be scoring goals, then go to Spain and win them the title with the goals he scored last season, get them back into the Champions League as well. Kane could easily see out his contract at Bayern and come back to the Premier League and score the goals.
He'll also be playing a lot fewer goals and a lot fewer games.
Yeah.
And that actually could have a benefit for not just for his international career, because England could see the benefit of that, but also for Harry Kane maintaining his fitness over the sort of latter stages of his career.